So welcome to Bitesize Edge. I'm Jules and I have the pleasure of speaking to Amy Deane today. Now, Amy is a family celebrant, a radio broadcaster and a motivational coach. Doesn't that sound like a fabulously diverse job description? And I'm wondering how they all fit together. So let's have a chat. Amy, welcome. How are you doing?
Hi, Jules. Nice to speak to you.
And to you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I've just been for a short run this morning, and yeah, so feeling quite lively.
Fabulous. I hear that you have recently taken up running. Is that right?
I have. I had a dog for well, 10 years, over 10 years, my darling Taya,
No.
and she died nearly 2 years ago now. And I found that I wasn't doing enough exercise because I used to walk her twice a day, and I really miss it. And I do often look after other people's dogs, but at the moment and for a while, I haven't had that pleasure. So I needed to do some sort of exercise, and you don't have to take any sort of equipment with you anywhere you go. So I thought running was the thing to try. I have a bit of a problem with my hip, which I might have to sort out. Not sure what that's all about, but I really love it.
Do you? So you get the concept of that kind of runner's high and the
Oh yeah, and definitely it's slightly addictive. I know when I say runner, I think possibly not what quite accurate, because I wouldn't say what I do is run. Light jog is more precise.
listen, let's not get into the technicalities of it. You are a newly released and formed runner, I would say, whether that's
Yes,
slowly or quickly. So
indeed.
running club and maybe we'll go for a run soon. Uh,
Oh my goodness, don't know about that, Jules. You're a bit too advanced for me.
no, nonsense. So, Amy, family celebrant, radio broadcaster, and motivational coach. Where do we start?
Well, I suppose what links all of them is stories. I'm
Okay.
really interested in people's lives, people's stories, and what they've learned, and also in a way what they can pass on to others. So I was a motivational coach for 20 years, did a lot of sitting with people, talking to them about their goals, and inevitably that would involve moving out of the way the things that were holding them back,
Hmm.
and celebrating the things in their lives that they really loved, and doing more of the same and achieving other things. So that's kind of how I started. And then a couple of years ago, I was at a Christmas party at your house
You were.
where I had this fascinating conversation with Julie Wilson, who is a celebrant in Leicestershire. And I was so fascinated by the work that she did and very inspired. And I thought, what a wonderful thing to do to help people when they're trying to say goodbye in the right way to people they love when they have died. And so I decided to have a go, and Julie trained me. And 2 years ago, almost to the day, I did my first funeral service.
Amazing. And 2 years on, do you love it?
Oh, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done. My first year I did 45 services. My second year I did 87. And
Wow.
honestly, it is the most incredible thing to do. And it's very involved. It's not simply sort of just running the service, because the relationship with the client begins from the first phone call,
Yeah.
because you need them to know that you're there for them. And I want to know immediately how they're feeling and what happened. And really from that moment, you're holding the space carefully for them so that they feel supported.
That's incredible. It must be so humbling, might not be the right word, but such an honor to be in that space when it's such a poignant and important time. And I'm guessing, it takes a really special individual to be able to read that and be able to know you know, what to do with it, because for a lot of people, death is that thing that we just don't talk about.
Oh, it's terrible in our society. We
Yeah,
avoid it like the plague, and it's, of course, it's the one thing in life that we can't avoid.
we know it's going to happen, but for one reason or another, it's just one of those conversations that seems to really, you know, be so challenging for a lot of people.
Yeah, we don't have a cultural approach to it. In fact, they're much better at it in Ireland. Actually, they
Yes.
definitely celebrate life, and we just don't talk about it beforehand. We're reluctant to talk to people who are recently bereaved, and we need to get more open about it, actually, because it is an inevitability of life. And I've suffered a lot of bereavement in my life, and my parents died when I was just 10 years old in a car accident. So I really understand and I've suffered other bereavements too. You know, 2 years ago, I lost one of my best friends, which is a very hard grief to handle. And it's, I understand. I do have a lot of empathy, but
Yes.
also because of my years of coaching, I'm not afraid to be with people when they are upset. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people shy away from that.
Because they feel it's that difficulty of not knowing what to do when somebody's so visibly upset. We almost, I mean, you know, you hear people go, "Oh no, please don't cry, don't cry."
Yes, I know, which is absolutely the wrong thing to do.
Allow these individuals to you know, release and express. So I think it would take I know, you know, I know I couldn't be a celebrant. I think it's an extraordinary role to play. But
And you do have to let people grieve, because grieving is so important. And exactly as you say, that whole phrase, "Oh, there, don't cry," is wrong. We really should be saying the opposite. Let it out. You know, because grief, and I know it's been said a lot, but grief is simply a reflection of how much we have loved somebody. And that's a beautiful thing. So there is, I honestly see grief as being a very beautiful sentiment, because it is purely love. It just says to us, "I have loved well," and that is not something to run away from, or to be, in a way, to be sad about, because there is something to say, well, yes, I am sad, but I'm glad. I'm glad that I'm sad, because it means that I've loved well.
Yeah, what a lovely way of looking at it. And such a fabulous reframe, I think, for a lot of people, to be able to, you know, see it like that. So Amy,
but also it's also dangerous, physically dangerous, to suppress all of those, any strong emotion. And grief is a very strong emotion, and we're very good at suppressing it. We put a lid on it because we need to get on with our lives. We're afraid to show it to other people. We think that it's tiresome for others, but if we suppress it, and I have personal experience of that, it can literally make you ill. And my own suppressed grief from being a child, because I didn't know how to grieve, and the people around me, the adults around me, weren't capable of helping me. Back in the 70s, no counselling available. And ultimately, years later, when it all came out, it nearly killed me, literally. So you know, it's very important to grieve,
to have that space to do so. Amy, tell me, share with me one of your fabulous stories. What's been your most favourite, if that's the right word when we talk about funerals? And I'm going to take your lead that it is okay to say this, but what has been your most favourite funeral, and why?
But you know, they vary enormously, and sometimes the smallest service can be the most memorable. But others are memorable for other reasons. My very smallest service was with 3 brothers saying goodbye to their mum, and that was it. There was only them at the service, and there was something very beautiful and gentle about it. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to support them enough, but in actual fact, it was it was very very warming and very simple, because she was a very private lady, and that was lovely, and they were very happy. But equally, one of the biggest services I've done was in Berkhamsted in Hertfordshire, where the service was actually held at the Civic Centre. So it held probably about 250 people, and they were bursting out the doors. Extremely popular local man. He was a builder, but that was just his job. He was a very brilliant darts player. He was known for his sense of humour, and he had the most amazing family who were incredibly close. And I sat with them in their little front room, and there were loads of them there. You know, his 3 children, their partners, their children, his brother and his wife, his own wife. I mean, it was extraordinary, and these stories just kept coming out. So I was writing vigorously so that I didn't miss a thing.
Oh.
And they all used to sing together all the time. Jeff, the dad, played the guitar, so they wanted the service to reflect him. So we had 7 pieces of music in the service.
Wow.
2 of them were recorded pieces sung by his daughter. I was given the permission to be funny, and
wonderful.
it was just brilliant. They processed down the high street with his old Bantam motorbike, ridden by his son ahead of the hearse.
Wow.
And the coffin was on the stage with his motorbike. It was the most amazing, beautiful thing. I think the funniest story.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I said just make it so unique for that individual. And
it was wonderful, a real celebration of life, despite the immense grief they were feeling, because he was only in his 60s. And it was all a terrible tragedy. But yeah, I think the funniest story amongst all of that was something about him being able to fart to "God Save the Queen."
That's brilliant. And you were given permission to say that?
Yeah, absolutely, all of it. Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that story. So family celebrant, we've spoken about motivational coaching. Let's just bring this now to radio broadcaster. Tell me a bit about this.
Well, I took a year out a few years ago in my old VW camper van with my dog, and we traveled around France and Italy. And one of the things that I thought about during that journey, because I was thinking about what is it that I want in my life, what are the things that I want to be doing, and one of those things was to be a radio broadcaster. And I'd been interviewed on radio and just really loved the medium. And when I got back, it just so happened that a couple of months later, a group of people in my hometown in Chesham decided to start a local community radio station. So I went along to the first meeting and said, yeah, I'm really up for this. And we had 1 week of live radio on FM, because you have to apply for short-term licenses.
Right.
And I did a show every afternoon for 3 hours, and I interviewed 3 people every day.
Wow.
And I loved it.
Did you?
I loved it. It was so much fun. And of course, it was, again, doing what I love to do, which is hearing people's stories.
Wow.
And so that's what I do now for Chiltern Voice. We're not on FM yet. We will be in a couple of years' time, and we're building up to that. But I do a show on a Sunday on Chiltern Voice. We're online, and we can be tuned into via the TuneIn app and various other apps. And my show is called This Life. So I interview people and about various things. It could be anything from mental health to how to get into the creative industries, or just somebody's miraculous story.
Amazing. And that's on a Sunday. Let's give it a plug. 12 till 2. Am I right?
That's right. Yes, chilternvoice.fm is the way to tune in. And on the days when I don't have a guest, I will talk about things that challenge all of us and how to move through them.
Yeah. Wow. And I'm guessing from all of your own personal experiences, when you talk about, you know, moving through things and moving past things, um,
Yeah.
from just life experience, and also your experience now over the last couple of years as that family celebrant, because I'm guessing that's taught you so much.
Oh,
Uh,
it really has. It really has. And I love to, it's really interesting meeting different families and how they're dealing with their grief,
mm,
and and also how far they can go in terms of celebrating at the service, because not
yes.
everybody is ready
Yeah.
to really sort of celebrate life. But and also I am starting to do weddings and baby naming ceremonies.
Oh, how
So
wonderful.
well, my vision, because I'm into, you know, the whole goal setting and what it
Yes.
is that I want to move towards, and what I want to build now is, having established myself as a funeral celebrant, is to become the family celebrant, where somebody gets married, they call Amy to do the service. Somebody has a baby, they call Amy to do the
Amy.
ceremony,
Oh,
and somebody dies, they call Amy. So I become their go-to person to look after the family when there's whatever they're celebrating.
that's fabulous. I mean, it is that whole, you know, circle of life, however
Yes,
it
exactly.
is
And I
that circle
love
of
that.
life. That's
Yeah, I
just
love
beautiful.
that phrase.
That is beautiful. So, Amy, if anybody would like to get in contact with you for you know the celebrant work, or finding out more about the radio broadcasting, or even the motivational coaching, how can they find you?
Well, the best way to find me is, there's no point in me giving out lots of different contact details, but the ideal email for me is hello@amydeancelebrant.co.uk, and Dean is with an E, and so it's
Okay,
AMYDEANE.
so I
And
will share
my website is amydeancelebrant.co.uk,
that.
and there's all sorts of suggestions for readings in at funerals, and you can see messages from families and read a bit of my story, so you can see where I come from.
Wonderful. Amy, thank you so much for taking the time out today to talk to me.
Pleasure.
See, you know, as a friend, I am fascinated by all of your wonderful stories, and the fact that you're now sharing these on radio and also through the medium of celebrant, being a celebrant, is just fantastic. I really see you as finding your place with being a celebrant just on that one conversation. It's amazing how things happen, isn't it?
It is, and I'm always sort of a lot. I think it's always about stories, always about life lessons, and things that you can pass on to others. So I've got a couple of other projects simmering away with a
Of
book.
course you have.
Oh, always.
Always.
Yeah, so Campervan Conversations is the one to launch next.
Amazing, amazing. Amy, thank you. Thank you for your time. What I will do is definitely share your details in the link here. But thank you for your time. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And yeah, thank you for your insights.
It's a pleasure, Jules. Thanks for the time. It's lovely to chat to you. And also, can I just say, if anybody would like to come on my radio show and talk about what they do, or tell their story, then equally I'd love to hear from them.
Amazing. And I have to say, both Pip and I did, in fact, go on Amy's,
You did.
and we talked about Edge, but all sorts of bits and pieces, and it was so much fun. So if anybody is tempted, I would wholeheartedly say get on there and have a good old chat with Amy on the radio.
Oh, it's great fun. It's great fun.
I
Yeah.
will share all the details, Amy, so people know where to come to find you.
Thanks, Jules.
All right, you take care.
You too. Speak soon.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.